Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Rock Felder on the line, and he's co-founder over at SquadCastFM. Rock, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man. So I'm excited to get into a little bit further into what you're doing over at SquadCastFM. I can tell you that I personally have used it for our podcast agency, and I have clients that work through it, and they love it. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But before we do, I'd like to go a little bit further into your background and your journey. So how'd you get started really in your career and as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think it honestly goes all the way back to my childhood, hearing my dad and his brothers and his mom. They started a business back when the brothers were all in their 20s. So I wasn't around then, but I got to hear about those stories of them running the business. And then, just kind of knowing that that's in my blood and hearing all the fun stories and challenges that they had to encounter and how they went about solving them, I thought was fascinating. So I'd always had an interest in business and kind of saw that entrepreneurship was in my blood, but I never really thought I was going to be someone that was entrepreneurial. However, I, was very interested in business. So out of high school, I went to college at Sacramento State, I got 2 degrees, one in accounting and one in finance. It just felt like that was a good career path. And this was in like 2011 and 10. So like the recession, the Great American Recession was like still kind of fresh in my mind, and I really was hoping for a good, secure job. And so I found one at a public accounting firm shortly after I graduated from college. And it was a good career, and I'm really happy that I chose it as my first job outside of college. However, after 3 or 4 years of kind of climbing the corporate ladder or corporate pyramid, if you will, I just realized that there was just something missing, and I was really looking forward to doing something more independent, creative, and entrepreneurial. So I've kind of been starting to financially and mentally prepare myself to do something more in those waters. And then in 2016, one of my good friends, Zach, who's my co-founder of Squadcast, I've known him since high school. He approached me with this idea that is now Squadcast, and it's been a great journey ever since.
Man, what an exciting ride! I love it, and it's great. I didn't know Zach was here. I know we're going to get Zach on the show, so if you're listening to this, Zach, your interview's coming up next. But I'm excited about that. But I love it. I love when you partner up with somebody or somebody with at least a like vision, right? Because that vision part of things is so important, especially when choosing co-founders and like it's a marriage. I always tell people that all the time. Like my co-founder over here, Shirag, we're joined. Whether I say we like it most of the time, but it's working with the co-founder is interesting. So that being said, there's some people listening right now to this, Rock, that are maybe not quite as far along on their journey as you are. So maybe they're kind of still at that just graduating college stage, and they're thinking about what their life looks like going next, or should they start a business, should they not? What kind of advice would you give to that newbie that's out there? If you could give them some advice as if you were talking to the Rock that was just getting started again.
Yeah, well, I would love to tell myself to have a little bit more belief in myself and give myself more of a chance, because I always had pretty audacious goals, but I set this ceiling on myself even when I was trying to achieve these goals. And I look back and it just it's kind of a waste of time. And I think it was a little bit, it made things more difficult. But honestly, I had a lot of maturing and figuring out that I need to do as personally, but also professionally. So I really do think that even though I'm very happy to be doing something more entrepreneurial, that starting in a corporate job, such as financial accounting, which is what I did, corporate auditing rather, to be more specific. So it was great exposure that I got very early on in my career to other founders and executives and board members, and got to get experience working in different industries like tech and agriculture and manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. So I think I needed to go through that period and really learn what it was like to be in a professional organization, working with different clients, different personalities. It helped really with my confidence on when I go into discussions with other companies. Like I'm familiar with talking to them because I've been doing it for 5 to 6 years. So I don't think there's any shame in working for somebody else or learning from somebody else. But I'm definitely think that if you have any type of desire for doing something entrepreneurial, that it's certainly worth a shot. And that's what this whole project of Squadcast has been about for me, was just eliminating what if. I had always wondered, what if I had started my own company? What if I was a part of something from the ground up? And I just was ready to eliminate that question from my head. And then I'm so grateful that I had someone like Zach approach me, because you're right, Adam, like starting off with that place of our visions were the same because we both love podcasting. Our skill sets were different enough that we thought we complemented each other well, but we've seen that we actually really do complement each other well. And then also just starting from a base of trust. I just don't know. I really feel for founders that are either going on this journey solo or looking for that other co-founder and not able to start off with their friends network the way that Zach and I did, because we also have other friends of Zach's brothers on the team. So there's a lot of trust and loyalty as kind of the building block. So that's another big thing, is finding people to go on this journey with, because it can be lonely even with a co-founder, but I couldn't imagine going on it without one.
Yeah, that's awesome, and I love that you bring. If I had to title this, it'd be "Bringing Family Business to the podcast world." I'm loving it. I love that Squadcast is a family business, and that it's tight knit like that, and that people are, and that you're doing great work. That's awesome. So you did bring up one thing that I wanna hone in on, and there's and this is one of those things that there's no right or wrong answer. So there's different camps, but do you think that it's mandatory for somebody to go to the corporate route first before, and I shouldn't use the word mandatory, but do you think it has to be done that way? Or do you think that, for some people it makes more sense just to go right out in there? Because I feel like this pressure that some people put on themselves to come out of college and just start and have all the answers and grow a big business immediately. To me, it's ridiculous. I don't get it, but I just like to hear your take on that one.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was trying to communicate, that yeah, if you have any type of desire and feel college isn't for you or corporate America is not for you, by all means, please, I strongly suggest everyone tries to scratch that entrepreneurial itch if you have one, because it's been a tremendous, it's made a tremendous impact on my life, professionally and personally. But for my personal journey, I would have not been prepared. I couldn't imagine a 21, 22-year-old me starting a business and having the confidence and the maturity to kind of do the things that I'm doing now. And it's not that I have it all figured out now. It's just I was a knucklehead back then. So I think that's okay. That was my journey, and I think I'm just much more better prepared for it now because I have that previous experience to leverage off of. But I do think that I'm also very fortunate that I didn't stay too long in that corporate funk, where I was comfortable because I was making a good salary and I was interested enough because the job I was doing was actually pretty interesting and stimulating, and there were opportunities for growth and promotion. It just wasn't, there was still a hole missing, and I needed to figure out a way to fill that. So that was my journey, and I think it sounds more common than what is probably publicized, because I think we're all fascinated with the Mark Zuckerbergs, or maybe Mark Zuckerberg's a bad example now, but people like that are wonder kids or whatever. They are fascinating and interesting people, but it sounds like more people are what my story is, where you've had some desire to do something, and then you just take a chance on yourself. And that's what I have learned, is like, you'd be surprised what happens if you give yourself a chance and put yourself out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out to start. So I love it, and it makes a lot of sense. So, Rock, I do want to spend some time before we finish this interview on SquadCastFM and what you're doing. So first, tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah, so Squadcast is a web app. It's very similar to Zoom, where it's like a video chat component where you can see people. The big difference is that we help professional podcasters record the audio in that session in the highest sound quality possible, so it sounds to your listeners like it happened in the same room. It doesn't have that kind of Skypey sound where you can hear the dips in the connection due to the reliance on internet. So Squadcast does a lot of the heavy lifting to ensure that you and your guests don't have to wrestle with the tech and just can join each other in this virtual studio, have a great conversation, and it's going to sound amazing to your listeners when you produce it as a podcast.
No, I love it. It's I think Squadcast is a great service, and like I said, for those so our podcast agency, we use it for our clients that want that additional level of sound quality, because the bottom line is, I mean, you can only, you have to use a service like Squadcast if you, in my opinion, unless you're in studio and you have, the guest is there with you in studio and you're right there. But I mean, that for 99%, or I could be wrong, I'm obviously making that number up, but let's say 99%, I'm right, of podcasters out there that are listening to this, like, that's just not going to be realistic for you to be in studio with somebody, especially, depending on distancing or anything else that's going on when somebody's listening to this. Like, nobody wants to be in a studio with another person they don't know, and it's just not happening. So that being said, like something like Squadcast just takes all that out, and just to kind of walk somebody through the user experience of that, because there's different levels of potential and current podcasters listening to this show right now. So just maybe explain it for like a newbie, like how easy it is to use. Because I've watched your demo before we started using it for our agency, for our clients, and one of the things that really stuck out to us was that it's just so easy.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's a delicate balance, trying to make it easy, but also ensure that the quality is up to a high standard and reliably delivered to you. So it really means a lot for the support, and to thank you for giving us the opportunity to help your clients out. So the way Squadcast works is you head over to the website. It's SquadCast.fm. You can sign up and start your 7-day free trial. We really want you to feel confident about that first remote interview you do on Squadcast, and not have to worry about any of the other things that have been common with having a remote interview, like, will I get this recording? Is it going to sound good? Like, we really just want you focused on just having that great conversation. So you create a session on Squadcast after you've logged in. You can schedule it in advance, or you can schedule one on the fly, and you can invite a guest by providing them a link directly, or you can invite them via email. All the guests have to do is click the link. They don't have to download or install anything. And then boom, they're going to be in that virtual studio session, cloud studio session rather, and you'll be able to see each other. We felt that like that was really important, that even though the video isn't being recorded yet, that is coming soon, we felt like it was still important for the guest and the host to see each other and really build that connection that hopefully gets carried over to the conversation that's being recorded. And again, Squadcast is taking care of all the heavy lifting, ensuring that studio sound quality is captured. We do that by capturing the audio at the raw local source. So what's being spoken out of everyone's mouth is being recorded. Squadcast is uploading that progressively, part of some patent pending technology we developed. So as the conversation is going, it's being automatically saved. So if there is ever a moment of failure, you don't have to lose that content. All you have to do is reconnect, and you can pick up where you left off. Additionally, as soon as you hit stop on the recording, because of our progressive upload feature, it's going to be available to download within seconds, maybe a minute, depending on how long you record, but you don't have to worry about having your guest or you stay on and leave your web browser open, because it's already there. It's already safe in our cloud. Finally, just as an extra layer of security, we're always recording backups in the background. Just if there is, for some reason, something goes strange with those primary recordings, we just want you to let you know that we always have your back by that second layer. Thankfully, less than 1% of recordings on Squadcast require a backup, so it's not something that's really used, but it's more so the peace of mind that we're trying to offer. And yeah, and it's downloadable in separate audio tracks, WAV or MP3. We found that a lot of professional podcasters that we help out, because they have some post-production process, the separate audio files allows them to edit the tracks independently and then combine them in that post-production. So we really set them up for success when it comes to editing, and we play nicely with all different kinds of editing software. And that's about it.
Fantastic. So, Rock, if somebody's listening to this, and thank you for that, so if somebody's listening to this and if they want more information on Squadcast FM, I mean, what's the best way for them to get that info?
Yeah, so SquadCast.fm is the best way to find us. It's our webpage, and it's full of resources and just information about the product, but also just information to help you be a better podcaster. And we really see it as our opportunity and our job to help people become experts at recording remotely. And what we've learned is it doesn't have to be difficult or super complex to record a great conversation remotely, and that's what we're here to do. So SquadCast.fm is where we can help out.
Fantastic. Well, Rock, first off, I could talk to you about podcasting all day long, but we're about out of time on this one. So that being said, I appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and your entrepreneurial journey. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Rock, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Really grateful for the opportunity to share our story with you.